Hey guys, welcome. Advocates for Justice, Foreclosure Defense, Paralegal Service. We have the tools, you do the work. Welcome guys. I hope you guys had a good Saturday afternoon. It's Saturday night now. We're running late, but we're here and I got what you need. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys to please click on those wonderful ads that pop up in an annoying manner. Those ads help me get paid. So when you click on those ads, I get paid. So make sure you click on the ads, subscribe to my channel, and that lets YouTube know that you guys find value in what I'm doing here. Make sure you click that like button so the algorithms will show my stuff to more people. And leave a comment, because comments are important. If it's just, hey, leave a comment. And that also lets YouTube know that I'm bringing value to the table. And last but not least, please share my videos on your social media platforms, especially if you live in California, because the fools in California, the attorneys, that's who I call the fools, bar members, the attorneys have contacted Facebook, and Facebook is blocking me from advertising on their platform, but they haven't figured out that I already know there's more than one way to get shit done. So welcome tonight, and let's get started. So tonight, we're going to talk about something different. I know you guys don't think that foreclosure defense stuff and third-party debt collection stuff is all I do. Do you? Well, I'm going to show you some other stuff that I do. Tonight, we're going to talk about getting a divorce without the spouse's signature and without an attorney in your face. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I think you're going to be surprised. I had a person call me yesterday that was interested in this document, this package that I have posted on my website. And I kind of forgot all about it. I get so wrapped up in what we're doing. And this package was used by a very close family member, one of my foster kids. And that was the reason why I put this package together. And it's pretty powerful. So we're going to talk about this marriage situation thingy going on here. So divorce without a spouse's signature is what you can get by using my marriage dissolution document. A party can file in the public record and dissolve the marriage without a signature from the other party, without an attorney, without a court hearing, and without draining your bank account. Sounds pretty crazy, don't it? Well, you know what? It don't sound no crazier than us stopping these foreclosures and having people stealing their house. So I'm bringing the crazy sounding shit, but I got people that's backing it up because people are using it and they are very happy with it. This package is also on sale for a limited time for $2.99, just like the other lawsuit packages, for a limited time. And you stop and think about it, this package has saved people a lot of money. There are a lot of people that are stuck not being able to make this work because of all the money that the court charges you when they run you through their process. And oh wait, and they make you get an attorney when you don't need one. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all of that here today. So in my program, using this package, you will be challenging the validity of the license based on the fact the state failed to fully disclose the terms of the state marriage license contract. The fraud. Yeah, the state did not disclose the fraud. So let's talk about what the state did not disclose. First, The guarantor of the license is a privately owned corporation. The state didn't disclose that with you when you got married. They did not disclose the licensing with them was not necessary for you to be married. Wonder why they didn't tell you that. They didn't tell you that if you requested a license from them, you were declaring yourself incompetent. So pretty much anytime you ask for anything that has to do with attorneys, you're being declared incompetent. And believe me, you're treated that way as well. You'll see when we get to the end of this presentation, you're going to be like, what? We bring fire to the table, and that's how we do it up in here. So you were not told that you were signing over the possessions of your future children to the state as collateral. I know I said that one day and the guy like, what the hell are you talking about? So this has to do with taking out a social security number and straw man and your name in all caps and all of that. And that's for a different stream. Okay. So just go with me on this. In contract law, there is no signature if full disclosure is not given with the presentation of the agreement. So they didn't disclose any of those things to you. And there's some other things they didn't disclose to you too. And we're going to get to them. So I had a guy tell me, oh, you're just trying to screw up. The goal for doing this research was to help a very close family member get a divorce from, a mentally ill person without the court interference, without the attorneys, without having to pay a bunch of money to the attorneys for them to fill out court documents. That's all they do. That's all there's asshole. They fill out the court documents. That's what they do. If you want to get divorced the conventional way, you'll go down there, you hire an attorney, you pay them a whole crap load of money, and then they fill out the court documents for you. So here's how this works. Basically, you will be using the same process they use to make the marriage legal, to make the process unlegal, and there ain't shit they can do about it. There is nothing that they can legally do to stop you. Now, this process works best in situations where there's no dispute that the judge needs to rule on. So you can see how that works. As long as there's no property, there's nothing that has to be split up that you can't agree on, then this process is perfect. So the issue of competency, we mentioned that a little bit earlier. The only reason it would be unlawful for two consenting adults to be married is if they were otherwise incompetent. There's that word, incompetent. Yeah, it keeps popping out. Therefore, if a couple goes to the state and asks for a state license, there's no reason for them to need a license other than being incompetent in the law. I guess you could call it the law, because we already covered the fact that a statute is not a valid law because it does not have the three elements that your state constitution mandates it must have to be a valid law. So if the statute does not have a valid law, okay, we'll get to that. That's for another stream too. So, and we already talked about that. So you guys should already know that. When they mention statutes, they're talking about what they call laws, but in reality, as a state citizen, what they're calling statutes are not valid laws because they do not contain the three elements necessary that the state constitution mandates must be present to be considered a valid law. So now one must ask, when a bride and groom are incompetent to be married without a state license, and that state grants the license, who's responsible for the marriage? Yeah, this was a question that came up when I was helping the family member figure all of this out. And I was like, I don't know. And we're going to find out. Who is the guarantor of the marriage license? Well, the answer is the state. The state issued it, and you paid them. Now one must ask, when a bride and groom are in contract to be married, without a state license, and the state grants a license, who's responsible for what is created by the marriage? This is where it gets real interesting too. The state is responsible for anything created with a marriage license. Typically, kids are created in the licensing marriage process sort of thingy, whatever you want to call it. And when they're created, they belong to the state also. That's going to be a subject for another stream too. So just go with me on this. And part of this proof of this is how quick the state will jump up and take your kids from you for stuff, and sometimes for stupid stuff, and sometimes the kids need to be taken. So we're not going to get on that subject. We've got a lot of subjects today that's supposed to be for another time. But we're going to stay focused on this one particular issue, the incumbency of the people that are requesting a marriage license. So how did we get swindled? How did we get in this situation where we're going in getting a license when we don't need one, and putting ourselves in a position to be deemed incompetent and to be ripped off for a lot of money? First, you must learn what happened. So in times past, there was no licensing of marriages except in cases where it was unlawful or otherwise for a person to be married. So, for example, biblical laws forbid interracial marriages. So the statutes of this nation were based on biblical laws. So it prohibited marriages between persons of different races. So if a white person wanted to marry a black person or Indian, they were by statute required to get a license. I'm glad we don't have to do that anymore. Oh, wait, we still get a license, but this is not the reason why they don't tell us the real shit, but we're figuring it out. So marriage records were kept in the family Bible, then in the county clerk and the recorder's office. Statutes were created to allow anyone desiring a license to obtain one. And we really needed those statutes, right? Now you can see here how the attorneys structured this conventional program for them to get fat pockets, and for us to struggle trying to pay them the fat pockets to do the shit that they're saying we need to have them to do, and we don't need them. Churches were used in helping convince people to use marriage license as a manner of recording marriages. Over time, people began to believe that the license was required by law, even though they otherwise were incompetent. It's ironic, the document typically used to begin a marriage is the same document used by a corporate state to remove your children from you. That's another stream too. Believe me, I'm taking notes, so we'll come back and talk about some of this other stuff. Anybody ever wondered, has anybody ever warned you, because the government employees were just doing their job? So nobody tells you any of this stuff because the employee is just doing their job. And I'll tell you right now, they don't know. Half of them don't know. Police officers don't know that when they sign the ticket that they're giving you, which is a summons, when the police officer signs that summons, it's a violation of the separation clause in the Constitution and makes the whole process void. Police officers don't know that. They think that they're doing something. Yeah, check it out. The separation clause mandates that the three branches of government have to be separated, and police officers work in the executive branch, not the judicial branch. a summons must be signed by a judicial officer of the court. So if you got a ticket by a police officer and he signed it, there you go. No charge. In contract law, there is no signature if full disclosure is not given with the presentation of the agreement. In the case of the marriage license, if you used one, you were likely not informed the guarantor of the license is a privately owned corporation and that the license and licensing with them is not necessary for you to be married. If you requested a license from them, you were declaring yourself incompetent, and you were told, and you were not told that you were signing over possessions of your future children to the state as collateral. Therefore, all of the above is true. If all the above is true in your case, then the contracting license is void without signature from the beginning. Let me check here. Okay, let's get back to work. Let's stick another banner on here real quick. Here's a link to the package that we're talking about today. So you can get that package on my website. I'm in the process of transferring it over to Samcart. So we're going to transfer it over and make a real nice display on it. But I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to take a look at this because maybe you might know somebody that's in the need for this. And now they can get it on sale just like the other documents. So if you want to get a divorce but are stressing over the cost of filing for divorce, attorney fees, and or the ugly litigation process, maybe your ex-spouse is crazy and you want to do it without drama, I have the simple solution for you. The benefits of using this package, you will not have extra costs other than purchasing the document. I think there may be a $10 fee for filing this document on the public record, for placing it on the public record. And you got to be careful. When you go into the court to place this on the public record, you can't say file and you can't mention divorce. Because if they figure out you're trying to get out of paying the court for a divorce, they're going to give you a bunch of shit and try to send you back over to the other place. Now, that's what they did in the very beginning when I first created this. Well, I created a few extra documents to jam the judge out to keep them from doing. Actually, there's a document in here to also jam up the clerk if they want to try and do the things that they try to do to keep you from doing what you need to do. Because they're a corporation and business of taking people's money. So you will not have any extra fees other than the $10 fee for placing your document in the public record. And you don't even have to tell them what it's about. You tell them, I want to place this document in the public record, please. And here's my $10. My legal team said there was not going to be a problem. If there is a problem, I'm going to need to talk to your supervisor. I'm going to need your supervisor's social security number. Yeah. That's what I asked from, anybody spamming me, calling me for something. I asked them for their social security number so I can make sure that I'm suing the right person, because I didn't give anybody permission to call me on my cell phone to try and spam me with some shit that I don't need. So you will not have to face the soon to be ex in court. And that's a pretty good one, because if you're married to, if you have an asshole you're trying to get a divorce from, You don't have to worry about all the termination and all the bullshit that goes on when they're trying to control you to go sit down and do what they want you to do so they can keep doing what they're doing, making your life miserable as hell. You can take control of the situation today and move on with your life. There are some nice benefits to this package. This is the last benefit. I don't want to miss this one. You can stick it up in your ex's face. I would just mail them a copy showing that it's placed in the public record. And the way this works, if you stop and think about it, when you sign that marriage license and all that fancy shit that they make you pay for, all they do is place it on the public record. That's it. They place it on the public record. So if placing your marriage license on the public record, you should be able to place whatever you want on the public record and remove it. And that's what this is about. And the funny thing is, you're actually going after the state. You're dissolving your marriage, not because of your idiot ex. You're dissolving it because the state lied to you. So that puts the whole situation in a whole different context. So now you can get out of the marriage without an attorney, without a court hearing, without draining your bank account, without signature from your spouse. And the best part is you can blame the state for the divorce based off of the state's misconduct. And now you're in control. And this document is on sale right now. And I'm going to post a link in the group. There we go. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. I just want to jump on here real quick, and I will see you guys probably next Tuesday, when it's time to rock and roll again.